Welcome into Southside Pod. My name is Chris Lanuti, bellying up to my 9-foot homemade oak bar. Pour yourself a cold one as we sit in the basement on the south side of Chicago and cover everything in the area that matters most to you. Yeah, so I lost something along the lines of like 10 pounds in the last 3 weeks, and then Fat Tuesday came around, and I think I had like 3 punchkis from Wolf's Bakery. And
it's just a name. You don't have to take it literally, right?
Yeah,
you don't have to eat like Oprah today.
I know, that's what I did. I ate like Oprah. This is the day that you eat like Oprah.
I'm not even sure if she's big anymore, but she had that fluctuation. Is the only thing. I'm sorry, listeners, and Oprah, because I know she's one of your listeners.
Yeah, I'm sure Oprah listens to Southside Pod. And then but the problem is like what you do is you're like, all right, it's a cheat day. So I'm going to go buy these things.
Yeah, it's a cheap month for you now, though.
So now after I go do that, it's like Erica's like, well, I want to get a burger. And I'm like, well.
You start justifying.
I haven't had Culver's in a while. I mean, It's Fat Tuesday. So I get myself cheese curds and a double bacon cheeseburger. Right. And now I'm sitting down there drinking Kentucky bourbon stout, which is probably like 500 calories a glass. So I'll gain
cold
10
out.
pounds
Get a little
day.
Inflation. It's fine. Working on
See,
the summer.
justifying. That's all you do is just justifying. So last year, right before the Southside Irish Parade, that's when everything locked down. It was like, everything's going to happen. They were talking about, don't worry, the parade's still going on. And then boom, the hammer dropped maybe about 3-4 days before the Southside Irish Parade. And that's when the COVID lockdowns began. And we missed out on it. So now a year has passed, or not exactly a year, but it's coming up now. So for the definitive answer on whether or not there is going to be a parade, and if there's not going to be a parade, what are we going to do instead? We have co-chair Timothy McSweeney joining me on the phone. Tim, how are you?
Chris, great. Nice to talk to you.
So is there a parade, first of all? For people that haven't heard yet, is there a Southside Irish Parade in 2021?
No, there's not. No permit from the city, no parade. That's the short answer.
Yeah, that's the thing that I kind of noticed is it seems like, I mean, there's no way of knowing whether or not you guys would have done it or not done it if there would have been a permit. I like to believe you would have tried it because I feel like now, a year later, knowing enough about it being outdoors, the fact that people are smarter and kind of know how to take care of themselves and put on a mask as opposed to like a year ago when everybody was just like, I don't believe in this. This probably isn't even a real disease. Like, I would think it probably could have been pulled off, but it's out of your control, right? Because there's no permit, so you can't do anything about it.
Right. It's like you said, it's out of our control. So we pivoted. We went to Plan B. We think it's a good plan, and so that's where we're at as of today.
So what is the plan? What are we going to do to kind of mark the occasion? I mean, man, two years in a row without a parade. I mean, even when it seemed like it was shut down, there were kids walking through the neighborhood. That's how that parade actually started, right? That was a neighborhood family parade. It turned into one of the biggest events in the city, biggest events in the country at one point, and then kind of had to be reimagined. And this has got to be weird for you guys not to be having the parade, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the parade brings, excitement, anticipation. It's like Christmas and your birthday on the same day, for at least in my house is, I think a lot of other folks too. So, we don't want to let the year go by, even though there's not a parade this year. We still have to celebrate, right? We're Southsiders. So we came up with this idea to help the businesses, the local businesses along Western Avenue and 111th Street, a little bit, because they're hurting. Granted, the parade is one day out of the year, but in this part of town, we know that the parade is a season. It lasts for weeks. And especially with the businesses too. People are, heading to the pubs on Western. They're buying things at the Southside import store, at the grocery stores. So what we came up with is called Shamrock Our Blocks, and it's a decorate your front lawn, your front porch, the front of your house, your front yard, in the spirit of the Southside Irish Parade and St. Patrick's Day.
Is this a contest? Like, can I win money doing this?
Yes, you can, and money is green, and green is good. So
that's right.
Right. It's a contest, and all the money that we raise, we're going to give to the winners of the contest. There's going to be 5 winners, and they're all in the form of gift certificates to our local businesses that have supported the parade for all these years.
Yeah, I was looking through it. It looks like it's about $1,000 in cash, and then there's also $1,000 in local business cards for the grand prize, then $1,000 in gift cards for second place, third through fifth, $500 per winner in local business gift cards. So there's a lot that you can go out and earn. And I'm going to tell you something. I like the fact that you're not only buying the cards, but I understand that the businesses, along with every homeowner, can actually participate in this thing, because it's fun to decorate your house for the businesses. I know, just knowing guys up and down, the street who own breweries, John Brand over at Open Outcry, or Bill Guidey over at Cork and Carry, any number of them along Western Avenue, they tell me a big part of my yearly business is that one day. It's such a big deal on parade day. It hurt them last year. It'll hurt them again this year. But it's a big deal that you guys are doing something to not only let them participate, but also that if the winners are going to be walking into their places and spending money, and that's another way that you can kind of help them out. I think it's a great idea.
Exactly. And you know what? And what you just said, I mean, you're capturing the essence of what we're trying to do. Keep the excitement going. Put a little money into the pockets back into the businesses who support the parade, and we'll be the parade will be back next year. But that doesn't mean we can't have a whole lot of fun this year doing it. Folks dress up their houses for Halloween. They went big. They went bigger for Christmas time. So let's carry it over to the parade and St. Patrick's Day, and like you say, just go that little bit more, and maybe win some cash.
Now, I know that the parade runs up Western Avenue, so that's basically it's your Beverly, your Morgan Park, Evergreen Park kind of gets up right close to it. Is there a border for those that want to participate, or is this something like anybody on the south side can decorate their house and send you a picture? Like, what are the parameters here for those that want to join, and how do they get in on this and become part of the contest?
You can live on the north side. You can live in the southwest suburbs. Decorate your house. Register online, SouthsideIrishParade.org. Take a picture and send it in, and then you're entered into the contest. So really, literally, anybody, anywhere can enter the contest.
Cool. So you don't need to be right along the parade route. You don't have to be in a neighborhood right around the parade route. Anybody listening to this right now just has to go to SouthsideIrishParade.org, get the details, get yourself registered, put your pictures up, decorate away, and go out there. And I'm going to tell you something. I don't know if you have the list in front of you, but there are some great spots up and down Western Avenue there where that parade takes place. There's some great spots in the community around there. I am sure you have a great collection of local businesses that are participating. So when people win these gift cards, they're going to enjoy using them, right?
Oh, absolutely. There's the buzz is already alive. There's already close to about 100 people who've already registered to enter the contest. Yeah, the excitement is there for sure.
It's a shame the parade isn't happening, but it's really cool that people are going to be able to do something fun around parade time, and not only can they win something for it, but they're really helping out those that are up and down that parade route. And I feel that it's a slam dunk. This thing is coming back next year. I feel like if you had an extra 6 months, you'd definitely be having it. And so let's do that this year. Let's enjoy it. Let's get the parade back in 2022. And I can't wait for this to all be over and have a pint. Legally, I know that you guys are a little nervous about that now. It's not like the old days when I could walk down the street with a keg on my back, but legally, out at the parade grounds, remember to go out to SouthsideIrishParade.org on your internet device. And Tim, I really appreciate you jumping on. Good luck to you guys this year.
Good talking to you. Bye.
This is by Ariaman, Iriman. Pick 'em up now. Where your day is long and your night is yours alone. When you're sure you had enough, love this life. Hang on. Don't let yourself go. 'Cause everybody cries. They cry, they cry, they cry. And everybody hurts. Sometimes. Sometimes.
Sports are rolling back in all over the South Side. One of the big things is football. An entire football season lost and now seemingly regained, at least at the high school level. But what about the younger kids? Sonny Hall's on the phone line with us right now. He is with the Chicago Crusaders football team. They play out of Brother Rice. This is a new league, if I'm not mistaken, right, Sonny? The River Valley League?
Yes, Chris. The River Valley League has been around, but we are new members of the River Valley League.
So you're the newest member of the River Valley League?
Yes.
This league, first of all, gives an opportunity for the kids to go out and play football, especially those of them that missed out. Because I know that a lot of the younger kids, there has been no plan for them to go back out and play again. I would imagine if you're going to play on your team, you live in the area around Brother Rice. That's like Chicago, but Evergreen Park, Oak Lawn, that type of thing? Or can anybody come and join your team?
Anybody can join, but all of our kids are from within a 2-3 mile radius here of Brother Rice. We're going 5th grade to 8th grade, so that's 10 years old to 14 years old.
Two different levels, or are the 5th graders squaring up against an 8th grader?
So the 5th graders are called lightweights with the River Valley League, and it's an age and weight-based breakdown where we do have 2 5th graders that are heavier kids, and they actually are playing junior varsity, but most of the kids are 5th graders. The JV is 6th graders, and that's the same idea with the weight and age, but we don't have any 6th graders that are big enough to play varsity. And then our varsity is 7th and 8th grade.
How did this, first of all, not only just the league, but let's just talk about your team. How does the team get formed? And was it really because of the interest in getting the kids back on the field during the pandemic? I mean, is that basically like somebody was like, man, we got to find a place for these guys to play, and the idea was let's do Crusaders football? Yes,
I'm talking to all the parents in the neighborhood with different parishes that I interact with at other sports, and everybody really, really missed football. I originally had an idea of making an all-star team through our parent organization, Chicago Sports Club, next year, and having a JV and varsity all-star team, and all the best kids from each team play each other at the end of the year after the championship game. And so I already have a 501(c) set up. Chicago Sports Club does a boxing show every year. And so I started putting out, hey, what if we started a league here, just for the spring and see where it goes. And everybody seemed to be on board with it. So that's how everything started rolling.
You guys are kicking off practice on Monday. Is it indoors? Because right now the snow a little deep outside of my door.
Yeah, it's definitely indoors. And we have a few indoor facilities, which it is almost impossible to find an indoor spot right now because of all the high school sports that are going. But we managed to get in at Roma in Frankfort. They have some indoor turf. Midlothian Park District has a indoor turf field. We're going to use that. And we're going to be in the Oak Lawn Pavilion gym a couple days a week doing plays and non-contact stuff in the gym. So between 3 or 4 or 5 spots, we got somewhere to be 4 or 5 days a week inside.
How important is it that I would think at least for the 7th and 8th grade kids, because they're getting to that age where they're starting to figure out, like, are they good at this? Do they want to play it in high school? Are they going to have a chance to play football in high school? Like, how important was it to find a way for especially kids that age to get a chance to go out and play a season, even if, from what I understand, this is a 6-week season with playoffs. There's a championship game in week 7. And so it's not like a super long season, but it gives them an opportunity to go out there and actually play ball.
Well, I think the one thing a lot of people are actually starting to see now, but overlooked at the beginning of this pandemic, was the socialization of kids. And humans want to be around each other and interact with people. That's what human beings do. And keeping these kids locked in their houses and on the video games is not good for their development. And I think, and football also being an aggressive sport is very good it creates leaders. Football and wrestling, I feel like, are 2 sports that create the people in society that are going to be type A personalities that run things and become good leaders. So I think it's very important that these kids get out here on the football field this season.
Where do you end up finding the coaches at? I mean, was it like you had an awful lot of coaches that didn't get to do it for their grammar schools and they were like, yeah, I'll totally do this? Or how did you put your staff together?
That's basically it. So with the Southside Catholic League, the coaches all talk to each other and, for the games and for scrimmages. And we've kept in touch. And a few of us, some guys played on a team at Highland, Indiana for Indiana Pop Warner this year. My sons played for the Junior Celtics out in Mokina, and we were also in the Pop Warner Indiana League in the fall. And through that, we started talking about, well, we're driving all this way to play. Why can't we do something in the neighborhood? So all these coaches are from the Catholic League.
Is there any chance still? Are there any openings? Is there a way for a kid to go and try out? Like, are you guys already locked in for the year? How's it working right now?
So with our team I started this team from scratch. So we have limited resources. We've actually got some very good sponsors started, and we started doing some fundraising, but we only had spots for so many kids. And we've actually had to turn kids down because we only can take so many kids. Right now we have 83 kids.
Wow.
On 3 different levels in this program. And we could have probably got over 100 if we would have kept taking kids, but we just, we didn't have the resources to do it.
This isn't a one-year thing for you, though. This is something where you want to grow this so that next year you come back with something even bigger. Would it always be played this time of year, or is it only this time of year right now because of COVID?
Well, it's sort of up in the air right now, and with COVID and everything, it's hard to make any plans. So I think the best thing you can do is just keep your foot on the pedal and keep going forward and kind of adapt as things happen. So we'll just see. I would predict that the majority of my kids, I do have public school kids on my team also, but I predict that the majority of my kids go back to their individual Catholic teams in the fall. But we're still going to be around at some level. And then in the spring, I definitely want to do a spring season, again, a short season for the spring. What that will look like, I don't know. We're going to start with this, see how this season goes, and go from there.
That's very cool. Well, we want to follow you guys on Southside Pod, keep track of everything that's going on. If somebody wants to kind of look into the league or learn more about it, is there a website? Is there some way that they can kind of to find out more about what you guys are up to? Is there a spot where the games are going to be played if people want to check them out?
So, yes. So our home games will be at Brother Rice. The River Valley League consists of the Frankfurt Square Wildcats, Frankfurt Falcons, Homer Stallions, Homewood Flossmoor Kings, New Lenox Knights, New Lenox Warriors, Orland Park Pioneers, Tinley Park Bulldogs, and Tri-City Wolverines. So all the games will be in the near suburbs. Ours will be at Brother Rice. And it'll be available. We have a Facebook page, Chicago Crusaders Football, or Chicago Sports Club's Facebook page. And also River Valley Youth Football has a website that you can go on and see the schedules.
First of all, congratulations and kudos to you for coming up with some way for the kids to actually go out and do something. I continuously have been put in front of classrooms here locally. Every time I'm in there and I look at these kids sitting inside of their homes learning on a computer screen, I always tell them, like, this thing was meaner to you guys than anybody else. Like, you guys have had the hardest run on this thing because you're kids and you don't have any control. And you're waiting on the adults to step up and come up with something to help you out because you've been forgotten in this entire mess, I think, in an awful lot of ways. And so kudos to you for finding something that remembers the kids and gives them an opportunity to get outside and be kids again. And I think it's very, very commendable. The Chicago Crusaders are going to be playing over at Brother Rice. And then, of course, check out the Facebook page, Chicago Crusaders Football. That is another way for you to keep track of what's going on. And we here on Southside Pod are going to keep track of the league as well this year. We're looking forward to what happens with it. And I hope you guys have a very successful season.
Thank you, Chris, and thanks for your time. I couldn't agree with you more. And we're going to get these kids out here playing football in a safe fashion, and we're going to have some fun this season. It's going to be a good time.
Imagine one day, out of nowhere, you need your car towed. Who are you going to call? You have no idea. Right, because none of us think about that until it actually happens. So I'm going to give you a name, Dreamers Towing and Recovery. Located in Evergreen Park, Illinois, they will tow your vehicle, locally or at a long distance, at a very affordable price. What happens when your car needs a jump start? Dreamers Towing and Recovery. What happens when you're locked out of your car? Dreamers Towing and Recovery. You got a junk car, you don't know how to get rid of it, and you just want to move along and get some cash? They buy your junk cars, covering the EP and the surrounding south side of Chicago. Dreamers is there when you need them with 24-hour service. Call them 773-410-4549. 773-410-4549. Turn a sudden nightmare into a dream with Dreamers Towing and Recovery. I will tell you this, though. I told the kids they got to go out there and thank the neighbor when they see him next. Guy comes out there with a snowblower.
Nice.
I don't have a snowblower. I have
power.
Right, and he went out there and hit the most of the driveway. And so, like, he really
I feel
saved
like the
their
neighbors,
butt.
and I don't know if it's just a south side thing or what, but I feel like the neighbors, like, if you have a snowblower, like, it's like automatically. Just go down your sidewalk, go to your neighbors, go as far down as you think you can or you want. Do your neighbor's walk, whatever you can, especially when you get like 12 inches like we got, the other day. Just ridiculous. So, help each other out. And I think it's pretty cool. Sometimes, I'll be sitting there and I think, who's doing mine? I see someone zipping down my sidewalk. It's just, kind of give and take. It's a pretty cool attitude, I think, in a lot of these neighborhoods. I'm in Mount Greenwood, so you'd be out there at 2 a.m. and you see other people, you're giving that whole like nod.
Mount Greenwood, there's probably a guy with a bobcat just riding along.
Absolutely, that's exactly what
it's Mount Greenwood for crying out loud.
Yeah,
they got bobcats, they got plows.
Right.
Guys coming out
spotless.
It's not like Elsip where they have a blowtorch and they just take out like the entire driveway with fire. But I mean, they still got some heavy equipment in Mount Greenwood.
They'd be playing with fire whether it was snowing or not in Elsip. So,
but I mean, it's
happy
kind of like
accident
that
when they burn the snow.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, right? But I mean, you're right about that because first of all, there was a point where I had like a used snowblower. And I was like, and I had it for a couple of years. Somebody gave it to me.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I'll take this thing. And I had to fix like the handle on the thing. And it worked.
Sure.
And I fill up with gas. And I would do up and down the block. Like if I was the first guy out, up and down the block, make sure the elderly neighbors can get out of the driveway.
Right.
Hit the porches. Like, I mean, I just do that
Especially if you
stuff.
got older neighbors and stuff like that.
Exactly. And so now the guys in the block do the snow. That's so much different. That's so different compared to other places. Like North Side, they throw their dirty, broken furniture in the middle of the street and they call dibs. Right? Isn't that like their thing?
That's a Southside thing too.
Is it really?
Like
I have never seen dibs. Really?
Yeah,
You've seen dibs before?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really?
Oh yeah, they put anything and everything out.
I'm completely against dibs, and I'll
That's
fight
only
anybody
if you
that's
have to shovel
into it.
your own spot out. Like we said, there's neighbors that do the whole street now, so we're good. So I don't really see dibs around here.
I think I've always been in a neighborhood where people just took care of each other.
That's how it should
like
be.
the idea of I'm just going to get my car and I'm going to leave these 2 giant mounds on either side of the car.
That's
and I'm going
exactly
to take 3, 4, 5 minutes just parallel parking into my
Put 2
own
cones, a folding chair, and a Virgin Mary in there.
and a Virgin Mary.
Because people might move the cones, but
Nobody's
don't touch the Virgin Mary.
Nobody's touching the Virgin Mary. Probably the best dibs thing that you can put out there.
Yeah.
Like if you're
like,
into
maybe
that.
like an urn. Like Grandpa's guarding my spot.
Right now, somebody's sitting there going, man, forget lawn chairs. We got to go out and buy a couple of urns. Just throw the ash in there from the fire pit in the summer
Right.
and save it for winter for dibs. These guys are geniuses. Casey Nunez is on the line from Big Brothers Big Sisters. And I got to tell everybody right now, and I'm going to tell you this, Casey. Back in the radio days, I worked with you guys. I was actually a mentor at one point. I used to have events for the kids. I think they locked me in a cage at one point or something like that. And people had to raise money to get me out of the cage. And I was in the cage for a long time. I found out that I didn't have as many friends as I thought I had to raise money for Big Brothers Big Sisters. And now you're trying to get more people involved, especially South Side, South Suburbs. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it. And I hope that you weren't locked in a cage for too long.
They were like, oh, spend a day in jail. And I was like, well, how long is a day? And they're like, oh, you'll be out in an hour. And I sat there like all day. I had people running to get me food. I'm like, how long am I going to be in this cage for? Like, nobody cares about freeing me. Other people getting freed. I was just sitting in a cage. But it was all for the kids. And that's the other thing. I did a 36-hour radio marathon in Champaign, Illinois, to raise money for Big Brothers Big Sisters. I just remember that as well. So yeah, I've been involved with you guys in a long time, but it's been at least a decade since I've heard about what's going on. So tell me, in case anything's changed, and everybody else out there listening, what Big Brothers Big Sisters is all about.
Yeah, so we've been around for a long time. I won't age you or date you, but we've been around for over 100 years and 50 in Chicago alone, a little bit over. So what we do is provide quality mentoring services to youth. And in Chicago, It's not only Chicago, it's Cook County, DuPage County, Lake County, and even Northwest Indiana. So part of what we do is, we speak with kids about what they like and help enroll them in the program, and then we'll match them with a compatible mentor. So say a kid is really into STEM, we really want to match them with someone that might be in that field of work. So we want to make it a really long-lasting relationship. So all of we call them bigs and littles. Bigs are, we have 2 different kinds of programs people can choose from. It's really dependent on what people like to do. It really doesn't make a difference in terms of impact. So the community-based program is when our bigs would be responsible for picking them up from home and taking them on outings. That's twice a month for 1 year. And in our site-based program, they meet in a group setting with other students. So, the good part of that one is you get to interact with other people, and it's on a structured time schedule. And in community-based, you really can make your own schedule. You decide whenever is best for you to be making that those outings happen. And right now, everything's virtual. We're slowly moving into in-person, dependent on local and municipality laws. But it's been really great to see some of these kids be able to come out of their shell and talk to someone during this. We're all isolated. It's a communal trauma. We're all trying to survive. And it's just really nice to be able to be there for those kids.
The little that I had, I remember in one place, it was more like, I'd hang out, kind of do something, chit chat with them. And I felt like there were times where they asked about what I did, but a lot of times it was because they just kind of wanted to talk to somebody. They don't have the kind of support that they normally have in the home. How much of it is mentoring for their future because they're interested in your actual career, but also how much should people be prepared that somebody's like, hey, I had this problem in school, because they don't have anybody else that they talk to?
Yeah, that's a great point. So the way I like to talk about this is just human, right? So a lot of these kids live in multi-generational households. There's a lot of people in the house, not necessarily everyone, but they don't even have someone in a lot of, I won't say everyone generalize it, but a lot of kids just don't have someone at the end of the day to ask how their day was. A couple of our bigs will text or chat with their littles and say, hey, are you doing your homework? I have one big in particular that does that every week, but they're also just there to have fun. Part of it is to learn about career, but we focus on educational achievement. We focus on avoidance of risky behaviors and cultural competencies.
I'm trying to think back at what I was hesitant about, because I know I was approached because I first did an event for Big Brothers Big Sisters, and then I got asked, will you do this? And I'm trying to think about what made me hesitant about it, because I found it to be very rewarding when I got in there, but I know I was nervous about it. And I want to think that one of the things that I was very nervous about was, am I going to get a kid that's like, that I can't handle? Like, am I going to get like a kid, because I don't know if I'm good enough to handle a kid that may have a lot of problems. And I remember, I want to say that it was like, well, what kind of personality do you think you have too? Like, you guys go through a lot to try to match the right kid with the right person. Like, you're not going to get overwhelmed as a big brother or a big sister because you don't want to overwhelm somebody, right? You want to give them somebody that that will match with them very well. You talk with the big brother, big sister before they get their little, correct?
We do. Yeah, we actually do a lot of stuff leading up to that. So we do an interview with that kid to determine what their interests are and do an interview with the mentor. I want to touch on what you said is, does this kid have, problems? What am I walking into? Our kids, we like to refer to them not at risk, but at promise, because at risk has this notation that it is the blame is on that child for being surrounded by some risky behaviors around them. That doesn't mean that they are that individual. That is not who they are. They are at promise and have potential. We are not a crisis intervention program. We are a preventative program.
So give me your elevator pitch before I get you out of here. Like, sum this thing up. Like, tell somebody right now that's listening to this who's like, I don't know if I could do this, but you and I both know they can. Tell them why they should do this, and give them that pitch there real quick, so that maybe they sit there and they take down the information when we give it to them and they decide they want to help out.
Yeah. So Big Brothers Big Sisters, it's a mentoring program for kids 7 through high school. Our volunteers are over the age of 21, and we want to match them with someone that has similar interests, so we have a long-lasting relationship. I've met people in the field who have been together for 40 years. That's a lot of time to have a relationship. It's a 1-year commitment, but people keep coming and coming and coming because it doesn't only impact that child, it makes a big impact on that mentor. And they are just there to say, how was your day? Participate and engage and be a person of a confidant for them. You're not a teacher, you're not a social worker, you're just someone that thinks that a kid around you could benefit from having a mentor. In the simplest terms, kids out there just need some help.
Everybody sits around on social media, Casey, and they go, man, kids today and the world's crazy. And think about it. You could have a little bit of influence. You could have a positive influence instead of sitting around and complaining on your Facebook and your Twitter, like actually have a positive influence on the world. And that was one of the things that convinced me when I got into it years ago. And one of the reasons at the moment you reached out and asked about it, I was like, oh, you're coming on Southside Pod, like immediately, because I want to make sure people know about it. How do they contact you or Big Brothers Big Sisters and find out more and decide whether or not they want to be involved?
Sure. You can reach me at nunes@bbbschgo.org or go to our website at bbbschgo.org. You can call me. I'm at 779-800-9136. Feel free to call or text. I'm available whenever anyone might need to become a mentor, because it really is great. And these kids are so brave and resilient that we can learn something.
And the greatest thing about a podcast is you can pause it right now, go back and copy out all that information. Can't do that on the radio. You can do it on a podcast, which is awesome. Casey, I appreciate you jumping on. Good luck to you guys, and anytime you need anything from Southside Pod, we're here.
Thanks so much, Chris.
Another show is wrapped up. Another show's in the books. Another show is wrapped up. And then by the looks, it's going to be a good one. And we'll see you next week. And the nude is basement. And the nude is basement. Another show is wrapped up. Another show is wrapped up. Another show is wrapped up. And it's in the books. Another show is wrapped up. Another show is wrapped up. And by the looks, it's gonna be a good one. Nudie's Basement. Broadcast Basement. The Nudie's Basement. The Broad Basement. Slancha. That was like Dropkick Murphys or something, right? I felt like it.